Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Apodaca. I'm an OKR coach and agile thought leader. I'm also the president and founder of Apodaca Consulting. At Apodaca Consulting, we work with our clients to accelerate profitability and reduce operational costs using a powerful combination of objectives and key results, Scrum, and AI. On average, our clients achieve 3 to 5x in annual recurring revenue, accelerate go-to-market by up to 50%, and an increase in efficiency by 40%. I'm also your host of The Execution Gap, a podcast that explores why business strategy fails and how the top 10% of leaders close that gap. And today, I'm joined by James Hatfield. James is the CEO of LiveSwitch. LiveSwitch is the world-leading communications platform for small businesses and entrepreneurs. They provide world-class technologies to help small businesses thrive directly, including saving them time and money, making them money, and helping them serve their customers better. Virtual estimates, on-site documentation, and AI built for small businesses are some of the many offerings LiveSwitch provides. James has a fascinating background. He started out as an entrepreneur running painting and power washing companies before making the leap into technology more than 20 years ago. Since then, he's scaled businesses from incubators all the way to the Inc. 500 list 3 years in a row, helped grow a company into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise with KKR, and now he leads LiveSwitch, where he's reinventing how video and AI serves industries like home services. Beyond business, James is passionate about giving back. Through inmates to entrepreneurs, he's helped thousands of incarcerated men and women learn how to build businesses and even co-created the ABC television show Free Enterprise. I'm excited to dive into his journey, the future of LiveSwitch, and the lessons he's learned along the way. James, welcome to the show.
Jim, thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited to have you here, James. Before we jump in, though, tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are today and the work that you do at LiveSwitch.
Well, just like most journeys, it's hard to see the future. I think for me, having come from a blue collar family, lived in a house my father built, the biggest dream that I ever had was just owning my own business, which is a great dream. You know, being an entrepreneur, running your own companies. It's exactly what I did. Ran painting and power washing companies. And in fact, I thought that's what I would do the rest of my career. The only reason I had to change is because when I used to go to the bookkeeper, the CPA, and they would speak English to me, I would nod my head and I said, I don't know what they're talking about. And I knew that was not a good thing. So that's when I decided it was time to go to business school while I ran my businesses. So I went to business school because a lot of us who come out of kind of the trades, we become accidental business owners. So we don't really take the time or had the opportunity to go to the business side of town. So being able to do that really is what changed for me and helped me not only with my businesses, but changed the course of my career and the people that I got to work with every day.
Yeah, no, I love your story, and I love it that it's one of those stories that kind of, evolves over time, right? In terms of you had an idea what you wanted to do, you started doing it, you realized that you needed to learn a few things, and I love that. I love that story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, being a constant learner is key to success, I think, and being open to change and being open to where you're supposed to go and keeping your eyes open for opportunity, I think is a key lesson for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so like I say, really excited to have you here. And so, James, you started as a small business owner and went on to scale companies to the Inc. 500 and beyond. Looking back, what experiences from those early days still influence the way you lead LiveSwitch today?
Yeah, I think being able to have a passion for selling. I remember I'm dating myself, but I didn't have a computer on my desk when I ran my small businesses. I knew how to hit the street and I knew how to knock on doors. And you don't always think that's the biggest transferable skill, but it really is. It teaches you how to be bold, courageous, teaches you how to interact with customers, how to close business. And so the times when we didn't have enough jobs to do the next week, I had to go out on the weekend and beat the street to make sure I filled in a few more jobs to make sure that all my crews had work to do during the week so we could make payroll, feed our families. And I think that really helped propel me when I went into scaling, right? Finding a product that has a product market fit, that serves a pain point that someone's willing to pay you for, and that you're one of the first movers. Then it's time to put the pedal to the floor, hire an entire sales team, and duplicate, replicate, and grow as you scale the company. And being able to do that, to duplicate, to scale, is probably one of the most difficult things in business. But when you can do it, the magic happens and you're able to be one of the fastest growing companies in the country.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And the part I really love about that is just the hitting the streets, right? Working hard. And anything we're doing is going to be a lot of work and it's going to be challenging. But it sounds like you rolled up your sleeves and you hit the streets and you made it happen.
Yeah, I think being always having an offense side to your business. There's attractional selling, there's marketing that we do, there's intelligent ways to build out your networks to really touch your customers. But I always love having the hunters in our company. The hunters have a very hard job. It's one thing to be an order taker. When COVID hit and other companies just benefited because they had live video, they were just taking orders, right? And that's a wonderful thing. It's an incredible opportunity to have. But I think always having a team that's willing to go out, beat the streets, as we're talking about, whether that be through digital means where you're picking up a phone, networking on LinkedIn, going to conferences, going to meet people. Like, I want a team, and I will always have a team in my companies that is willing to put themselves out there and go knock on somebody's door virtually or physically and take our business into their business. I think is a wonderful thing. And I think some companies forget that sometimes you still need to be cold calling.
Yeah. Well, and there's a resilience to that also, right? I mean, you knock on 100 doors, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get 100 yeses, right? And so there's definitely that resilience and that persistence that goes along with that.
Absolutely. And you can take that to any size business, whether you're just getting started or whether you're in the Fortune 500.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love it. LiveSwitch was 16-year-old company when you acquired it. What was your vision for reinventing the business, and how have you reshaped it since taking over?
Yeah, so the first tech company that we did was a financial technology company. We started an incubator from nothing, and startups, as we all know, have a 90% plus chance of failure. So we knew this time where we had capital that we didn't want to start from an incubator again. So we scoured the world looking at thousands of companies before we decided to go with a live switch, which we purchased 5 years ago. We were looking for a company that had kind of a Coca-Cola recipe, or hard to duplicate. We wanted to be in technology again, and we wanted a founder-led company. So we found a company that was 12 years old at the time. The founders are still here, has a bunch of computer scientists, and we wanted to apply our techniques, our business acumen to that business so we could grow it, scale it, and monetize it. And I love selling usernames and passwords. So eventually we got into that business, which is one of my favorite businesses, is to build a product and build and sell that same product every time with username and passwords in a recurring revenue model. I love that kind of business.
No, that's awesome. So, yeah, so I guess maybe kind of switching gears here in terms of AI, right? It's one of those things that we're definitely talking about these days. You've recently added an AI component to LiveSwitch's video platform. How do you see AI changing the way companies use video, especially in industries like home services, where you're already under the hood with tools like Service Titan and Jobber?
Okay, so AI specifically, I'll tell you a story that happened in my house 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, our HVAC unit was struggling. It had a full water pan full of water, and my wife noticed it. So she called our local technician who promptly came out. And as he was coming down into the basement and to check on the unit, I said, "Hey, pause. I want you to stop for 1 second. We just launched AI that we've been working on for quite a while, and I want to put it to the test. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text you a link." And this technician, I said, "I want you to act like an ignorant customer." And I say ignorant in all the right ways. Like, just act like you don't know anything about HVAC units and go in to the unit and just take the video and talk to it what you see. So he went in 30 seconds. He had a very thick country accent. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, so we've got mountain accents out here. And I love it. These southern accents. He walks in, he's like, "Well, there's a bunch of water in the water pan. There's condensation all over the line and it's dripping right there." 30-second video. We submitted that through our AI prompt, which I created, called the HVAC diagnosis. So at 30 seconds, we got a report back, 2-page report about what the probable cause was, how to remediate it as well. It said probable cause with condensation on the line and a full water pan, most likely is that you have a plug of algae in your drain line. So you need to release the drain line, clear out the algae, and that'll fix the unit. So the technician walks over, takes out the drain line. Algae goes everywhere. It's all over him now. And he fixes it. His jaw is on the floor. This is a very young junior technician. Looked at me, he says, "Can I buy stock in your company?" Blew his mind. And it blew my mind too. And it continues to blow my mind what AI is capable when you're giving it as much information as possible. And as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 10,000. So now we've got audio, video, and photos feeding the AI with prompting that you want. Anything you can imagine, your imagination is a limitation, and it continues to blow my mind every day what it's capable of, saving people time, money, helping them be a co-pilot, covering their backside, and many other things that AI is now helping all businesses everywhere accomplish.
Yeah, no, I love that story though. That's awesome, and I love the accent. That was
You're welcome. I've been in the southern part of the US for quite a long time.
yeah, no, that was perfect. I mean, I'm kind of a late adopter of AI. I would say probably within the last year, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the idea of interfacing with, Chat GPT and talking to it and learning from it, and this thing is learning from me also, right? Was kind of, kind of scary at first. But I use AI on a regular basis. And to your point about saving time, that I think is where it's one of the biggest advantages is just the time savings. And as an independent consultant, I don't have a co-founder that I can work with. I don't have someone to bounce ideas off of. And with ChatGPT, it's really kind of filled that gap, right? It's really been a thought leader to me in terms of how I've been building my business and my consultancy. And so I would say if you're still hesitant about, approaching AI, there's really nothing to be too concerned with there or too scared about, I guess, because there's so much that it can do.
Yeah, there's it's real. With any technology that comes along, no matter what, we've seen it decade over decade. You got your early adopters and then becomes more mainstream until everybody's using it. You're going to find in very short order that AI has been the hot topic. If you want to boost your market cap, just say two little letters, right? But what's going to end up happening is all businesses will have AI. And just like if a business were to say, hey, my competitive advantage is we have electricity. Be like, what? That's not a competitive now, in some countries, that is a competitive advantage
Sure.
still, but in modern, civilization, eventually you're gonna find in short order, if you say, "Oh, yeah, we use AI," will become the same as saying, "We use electricity," okay? It'll just be an expected part of how we run business and do business, but for those folks that find AI to be intimidating, and I totally get it, it is intimidating for most people. What I want you to start doing is just playing with it. Go to whatever AI you want, Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, it doesn't matter, right? I would say go and start to play with it. Just ask it some questions. Help it to start replacing your searches. We're all probably everyone listening, Google searches quite often. I want you to take it when it's not just a simple, what's the weather out, or when you want to go to two searches in a row and have almost like a conversation. I want you to try to use an AI platform and see what it can do. And I think you're going to find when you start to play with it, you'll have some light bulb moments happen. Like, ooh, I can try here. I can try here. And then it becomes, and where it probably is with you, Jim, more in your daily routine. Now it's getting into your work process. And we're just getting warmed up. I mean, that's just where you start. I mean, we're going to talk about some things probably that it's going to be just like the HVAC example that is mind blowing.
Yeah, no, I love that. So curious, you've helped take companies from zero to Inc. 500 and even the multi-billion dollar valuations. What are some of the biggest challenges leaders face at each stage of growth? And what advice would you give to founders to avoid some of those common pitfalls?
Yeah, well, each stage presents different kinds of problems. Going from 0 to your first million is different from your first million to 10 and different from 10 to 100 and so forth. And as you scale your business, it can be difficult. I mean, one thing consistent, whether you're a startup or Fortune 500, every business struggles with this is hiring the right people. Okay. Finding the right people, putting them in the right seats on the bus and leveraging and maximizing the value you're getting out of your team. Okay. A couple other things you can do, especially when you're new, is start to document those processes as fast as possible, right? You want to document your process so it can be made redundant. There's a beautiful book called Making Money is Killing Your Business. I want to highly recommend you read that. What it's going to do is help you to start putting together freedom mapping. Freedom mapping is simply said where you're putting at a very high level on one sheet of paper, maybe two, your business process at a high level from end to end, from lead to cash and cash to contract and contract to recurring revenue, right? And you want to document all of those steps high level. And then for each one of those things, there's going to be processes inside each of that high level process that you're going to want to document and then start giving ownership to the person. We say the person closest to the data makes the decisions. Are you willing to empower your team? That's the question you have to ask when you run the company. A lot of owners, the reason that their growth is stifled is because they're prideful. How does it come out? They don't say it, but it comes out and like, oh, I can only do this or I do this best. That is a problem for your business. That's a problem for your freedom, which is called a freedom map. You want to be able to make yourself redundant in every form, right? To where you ask yourself, can you leave your business for a week? Can you leave your business for a month? And will it continue to run and will it improve? All right. If your answer is no to both of those, put processes in place, assign them to a person who does that job and tell them improve that process better and better and better, right? And then when new people come, we start to hand that off, right? Any area I go in my business, I'm doing it right now. I'm building up a new area of the company. I'm bringing people behind me. I'm making myself redundant. They get new titles. Other people run it and then they take it and make it great. And I go to the next part of my business and continue to work on my business rather than just in the business.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And there's a couple of things that you touched on there that, I work with clients that are in similar capacities when they're starting to scale. And I've got a client now who's really outgrowing their business, right? And they're bringing in new team members, but, there's a lot of essentially chaos there with some of it in terms of, ownership and accountability processes to your point, which metrics are we supposed to be tracking, KPIs and so forth, that's really what I love about what I do is helping customers figure all of that out. But I love what you're saying there in terms of really understanding how your time is being managed and how to better use your time. And so, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, James. You're preaching to the choir.
Good, good. Some of these skills are transferable no matter what business you're in.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I love the work that you're doing with inmates to entrepreneurs. When we talked about that originally, I thought, well, that's super cool. So, in terms of the show Free Enterprise, what has that experience taught you about leadership, resilience, and giving people a second chance?
Yeah, I think we have always believed in second chances. I think we all need them at times. Being able to go into the jails and teach wonderful men and women how to run their businesses. And we've seen so many success stories that it did become an ABC television show called Free Enterprise. My business partner is a star of that show. It's always funny to see my business partner as a TV star, but I love it. And they're heartwarming stories. And we hire folks, even in our own companies now, from that. But I think what we have found more than anything is just watching people flourish when you just give them the skills that they need. It was already innate. They've got the drive, they've got the talent. Now you give them, hey, here's what we've learned along the way and watch them fly. And it doesn't ever surprise me when we talk about inmates to entrepreneurs, how many people's lives have been touched or they've personally been incarcerated or have dealt with justice issues, what that they need to come and overcome as well as just move past because sometimes these justice issues weren't even their fault. So we've got to be mindful that not everyone that when you think about incarceration or jailing is what you might think about in your mind. Some of it is, but a lot of it is that people given a second chance, know where they came from, are able to really thrive in business. And so we've been excited about that. And it's been heartwarming to watch that unfold. But thousands of people have gone through our program. It's been exciting.
No, that's awesome. Is there a particular story that stands out, one that you remember that is just really unique in a way?
Yeah, I think, and it's personal to even someone I work with now because it's their story, right? Where they made young people decisions, right? Or they got involved in substance abuse and addiction. And, that's hard when, if you've personally struggled with addiction, how to learn to say no, to put that down, to put resources around you like Celebrate Recovery and things like that. But we've watched people put that down. And, I don't want to say names, right? Because I work directly with the individual, but they were able to start saying no to that substance abuse, put that down, and graduate from the program. They were even featured on the television show, and now they've really. It's incredible to see what they've been able to do. They're a rock star in our company. We're so grateful for that person. If they're listening, they know who they are. And I've just watched them take ownership, take the lead, and come out of something that they hope never to go back to again. But substance abuse is real. It can really get into our hearts and minds. So if you've struggled with that or you're currently struggling with that, I would just encourage you to reach out and get some help, especially if you're right in the middle of it. Shine some light on it. Get around some people that can help you. And those stories are also always some of my favorite because those even before and after pictures of what they've gone through physically as well is so amazing. You don't even recognize the person anymore professionally, but also with their appearance. It's been exciting to watch these stories.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think probably the coolest thing about that is really just the impact that you have on someone's life, right? Not knowing who this person was originally and, not really knowing their story, but that long-term impact. I think that's probably one of the most beautiful things is the impact that we can have on other people's lives, and we may not even really know it, but, I think it's a way of paying it forward and, and helping others that are in need. I love that.
Oh yeah, and especially if you're a person that can break that uh, addiction from a family tree, right? Some of these things are part of things we struggle with familiarly, like where maybe our father or grandfather struggled with alcohol abuse and then the father did. And then Now they personally are going through it, but if they can get through like a program, like Celebrate Recovery, or unfortunately if they have to come out of incarceration and then it never comes back, and then the next generation of their children are affected, or their communities in a good way, it can break that relay race. Some relay races are meant to be a dead end. Other relay races, like when you've been touched by that and you can turn around and tell your story and use that story as a power statement in a good way to people around you, it becomes a better relay race. So we just love seeing the dynamic change, and that's so encouraging to see in people's lives.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, so looking ahead, what big shifts do you see coming in video, AI, or home service technologies that leaders should be paying attention to now?
Yeah, well, clearly what we've been able to deliver is already. I just got off with a person who is a coach for home services, and we walked through all our AI, and he's like, "You've completely changed the game, and I can't stop thinking about it."
Yeah.
Right now that we are able to take recorded video, live video, photos, and audio and run this through an AI prompt that gives you reports, management critique, sales critique, inventory reports, you name it. Your imagination is the limitation. So that's where we're at today. Coming up in short order, think about agentic AI, where you have agents doing automations and you're starting to automate things rather than having to save yourself a few clicks or save yourself some process. As a simple example, maybe after every sales call or every on-site, you go into your CRM and you physically type in all of your notes, right? Thank goodness, right? When people do that, as a business owner, you're like, oh my goodness, thank you for documenting that.
Okay.
But the issue that we've got here is that we don't always remember everything. We sometimes forget to do it at all. And it's very laborious. So
Sure.
now what we're looking at when you talk about even some automation is that when you have that engagement, maybe it's a sales engagement or maybe you're on property doing your work, now that entire engagement can be put into notes, action items, and a CRM entry. And that way you're documented, right? Which raises the value of your business and protects you because now you're covering your backside. But why the team member will love it is no longer do they have to be Ernest Hemingway after every engagement and write novels in your CRM. Nobody likes doing that. I
Okay.
haven't met a person who's like, you know what I really love about my job? I get to do CRM entries. But beyond that, what we're going to see happen is, let me paint a picture in home services because we can all relate. Let's say you walk in, your toilet's leaking, you got a leaky pipe or whatever. You walk in, you're like, dang it, that's not good. And maybe you don't know how to fix it. You're not a handyman. So you can now, you'll have QR codes. They might even be under the hood of the toilet because some of our plumbers are doing that. You can scan a QR code at any time of night, day, take a video, say what's going on. Hey, this is my downstairs toilet in my guest bathroom and it's leaking on the floor. I can't figure out how to do it. Here's a video of what's going on. No agent on the other end. The video will go into the cloud. AI will go through an automation, determine the cause of the issue, most likely cause, and then it will even put together a bid. You'll have an AI assistant call that individual because one of the hardest things we do is called speed to lead. When you have the problem, how fast does a homeowner want the toilet fixed? Well, immediately. So when the AI agent calls, it'll say, hey, Jim, I have looked at your issue. This is an AI agent with James's plumbing service. We've determined that this is the likely cause. Here's a cost of it. When would you like us to come out? I'm here to schedule. And if at any time you want to talk to a live person or if this is an emergency, let us know and I'll transfer you. And the beauty of this AI agent is you can choose the accent of the individual, the gender of the individual, the timing, the pace. So if you're where I am here in Nashville, North Carolina, maybe you want a slightly southern spoken female voice, you can have that. And it is unbelievable. It's come a long way from when you've made that phone call and talked to that phone tree. No longer. All right. And people will warm up and more people will prefer for the speed and convenience to deal with that AI agent. But at any time, you never want to trick your customers. You want to be forthright. So that's the next piece. And that is what I'm calling a touchless experience, right? So when your toilet leaks, you're scanning, you're taking the video, you're getting an AI agent call, you're booking that time, and out comes the plumber to fix your problem.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So would you say that over the next 12 to 18 months, I mean, is that one of the things that you're most excited about? Are there other things that you're excited about? Product features, things that you're rolling out at LiveSwitch? What does the next 12 to 18 months look like?
Yeah, it probably won't even take 12 months to do what I just talked about. I mean, the speed of these things that we can move at is incredible. What I have my mind on right now, again, this is probably less than 2 years, is now that excuse me, that Meta has launched these glasses. I don't know if you've seen the new glasses that they just launched with display on it. But the beauty of these glasses is really a number of things. One, it's got video cameras in the lenses, it's got audio, in the lenses. It's got data location. And additionally, it allows our home service technicians to work hands free. No more holding up the phone while they're doing that. Because right now, I got to work with the technology you got, which is the phone in your pocket. So I'm leveraging that. But now, as the phone goes from your pocket to your face, we're going to be able to do a lot more things where senior technicians can be back at home and look through the junior technicians' glasses to help them running that video and audio through AI against code. Imagine an electrician. Might be nice to make sure you do it to code so you don't burn the building down. And then all of that is being recorded in the cloud for documentation, for training, also just for review in case there's an issue or a customer dispute, and on a whole number of things. So I'm excited about where that is headed, and that is probably in 2 years or less as well. So yeah, and more to come. And we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. It sounds like you got some really cool things that you're getting ready to roll out though, and some cool features that are already out there.
Oh yeah, I'm excited, and it'll make the customer experience better, and that's what we're looking for, as well as the operational experience better. And it's great for the environment as well, saving trips in the truck and things of that nature. So obviously, we need these data centers to get better as well. That's a real drain on our resources, but I think we can figure that out in the future. But hopefully, all this can be incredibly green technology as well, which I'm excited about.
Well, and I love what I love about the work that you're doing is small businesses and entrepreneurs, right? You know, I mean, I when you and I spoke originally, I told you that I come from a background. My family, everyone was in worked for the government, worked for state government, right? And I was going down that path as well. So we really didn't have an entrepreneurial mindset in our family. And I was fortunate that I was able to work with a startup that started out very similar to your journey, to be honest with you. The CEO of the company had sign businesses is where he started his business, eventually went into tech and now he's got this great company. But, and in the business model there was really helping small businesses, helping small businesses find lending and financial support for the most part, right? And I admire the small business, the entrepreneur that is willing to step outside of those comfort zones and to take on an ownership of a business. There's a lot that you sign up for when you become a small business owner that, you really don't know you're signing up for. You're signing it. You're creating that business because there's a passion that you have for what you do, right? But, there's all these other things that come along with it that are administrative, legal, finance, marketing, all that stuff that you didn't know you were signing up for. But there's just this spirit that the entrepreneur and the small business has that I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We just updated a bunch of our mission statements around this exact topic. For us, entrepreneurs, small business owners are the lifeblood of any economy.
Yeah.
And when you can support the folks that are really down there serving other folks, and that's where I come from. That's where my business partner comes from as well. So we know that world very well, which is why we try to make all of our technology practical, tactical, AI for the rest of us is what we like to call it. Being able to be part of that as well as birth new entrepreneurs out of inmates to entrepreneurs, like it's where we're going to stay. It's a lane that we love, and we're going to continue to support that probably for the rest of our time.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So, James, as you know, the name of this podcast, it's The Execution Gap, right? A podcast that explores why business strategy fails, how the top 10% of leaders close that gap. In your many years of experience, what's one gap that you've seen time and time again, and how have you learned to close that gap? And what advice would you give to other leaders who may be facing a similar situation, whether that's building trust with customers, creating the right structure in teams, or knowing when to slow down and focus on strategy?
Yeah, I think closing that educational gap, is huge no matter what you do. And as you face it, as you continue to scale your business, grow, change your positions, that education gap can be solved in a number of ways. One, you're doing it right now. If you're listening to this episode, you are already starting to close your gap, right? If you're picking up books, like we talked about earlier, Making Money is Killing Your Business. Amongst many beautiful books out there, you're closing the education gap. When you start to create your board of directors, your mastermind groups, when you're starting to get around like minded folks, they can be vendors as well as business owners, as well as staff members, anybody, you're closing that education gap. By being able just to phone a friend, so to speak, or phone an advisor when you have issues, like you got someone like Jim in your corner, that can help close the gap. That's speed to closing that gap, and banging your head against the wall, or just, you know, taking guesses on what you think is going to help. might not. You might actually take a guess and fail and put yourself, a few months in the hole or go and burn up a bunch of cash. The other thing is you got to sniff out good help, right? I've worked with plenty of consultants that, they're good-hearted people, not nasty, really trying to do the good thing, but they didn't have the answer to the test, right? So, and there's some that do, and when you find them, you hold on to them, right? But I unfortunately call some of those folks false prophets, false profits, no money,
Yeah.
right? They mean well, but they're really slowing you down. So you have to have discernment. But when you find the right people, you put them on your team, close that knowledge gap. I really think that's going to help you scale and grow your business faster than most anything out there.
Yeah, no, I love the piece on education, right? I mean, there's so much to learn when you're growing a business. Again, going back to so much that we don't know when we start these businesses, but just education in general, there's just so much value in learning. And, and I think when you start to learn something, that learning takes you on to additional types of learning, right? You start researching more things I've always been an advocate of education and learning. So I love that answer.
Yep, and I believe in it. I mean, this is what we do and spend time doing. And I do love a good Audible subscription with books, whether I'm on my John Deere cutting my grass or traveling all over the country. I'm using time behind a wheel or on a flight or wherever as my mobile education, my mobile classroom. Right? I don't want to waste any valuable time. So finding those places where you're maybe just kind of already going about your daily work. Well, plug that with some education, and it's really going to keep moving the needle forward for you.
There anything in particular that you're listening to right now? Anything that you're listening to when you're
Yeah.
sitting on that John Deere?
Yep. Today's book that I'm reading is Main Street Millionaire. It's fantastic, especially as you work with entrepreneurs, small business owners. She's doing a great job with that book. I'm just reading it over and over again because, well, it's my first time through this time because there's a lot of valuable content there when you're dealing with folks that are been in and owning their business for multi decades, maybe even thinking about exiting and how to really interface with those individuals. Mainstream Millionaire, fantastic book.
That's awesome. I don't know if you're like me. When I'm listening to podcasts and I'm working in the yard, I often find myself pausing to take notes, and I put little notes on my phone, right, just to reference certain pieces of that particular podcast so that I can go back to it and revisit it later. But that's one of the challenges I guess I have with being productive in the yard is that sometimes I'm taking too many notes rather than actually doing the yard work.
That's right. You're doing the brain work there. It's okay.
Absolutely. And so, hey, just to kind of wrap it up, I've really enjoyed our conversation. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Just kind of a personal question. When you're not busy, being the CEO of LiveSwitch, I mean, what do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I'm heavily involved in a nonprofit I started 13 years ago. It's another one. And most recently, we've taken this nonprofit into hospice, people on their last day. So my family and I, we love singing. You probably see the guitar here behind me. So my family and I go room to room singing to people on their last day. I've grown up around a lot of death, and this is just a great way that I can step in and serve and, you know, bid people a peaceful journey on their last day and connect with the families that are affected there as well. So we find a lot of time to really serve our community, whether we're working in group homes, whether we're working and basically like the hospice or just single mother, just respite care and help. So we love finding the most vulnerable population within our community and stepping in and serving with our time and our hands and feet and occasionally some money as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. My father was in hospice before he passed away, and so sometimes just, I could see where a song just helps you disconnect from the moment that you're in, and just helps you think about something else for the time. Because hospice can be, it could be hard not only on the individual, but on the family as well. It was really,
Absolutely.
really tough on my mom. So, I mean, thank you for doing that. I love that.
Oh, I always get way more back than I give. It's always an incredible experience when we do it every month.
You sound like a good man, James. I'm really glad we got to.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've come from some rough stuff, so everyone needs that second chance. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity. And Jim, thanks for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Amen, amen. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you on the show, James, and I really enjoyed our time. If people want to learn more about you and LiveSwitch, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, two different ways. One's LinkedIn, very easy. Just go to LinkedIn, look for James Hatfield at LiveSwitch, LiveESWITCH, or you can go right to liveswitch.com and just book a demo and ask for me. There's a demo button there and just say, I want to talk to James. And I told Jim I will personally make time for anyone who's listening to this episode that personally reaches out, I will do that. But I will ask that if you do want to reach out, that you'll do me one favor, okay? Before you reach out, is that you'll share about Jim's podcast, right? Jim's probably not making millions of dollars off his podcast today, and he does this to probably boost his industry and help folks and get really knowledgeable folks here. So don't be a dead end in the relay race. I want you to take the baton and share about this with one other person, or go to LinkedIn and say, hey, I got a lot of value. It doesn't even have to be this episode, but please promote Jim. And I'm not being paid to say this either. I'm just a big fan of education, and Jim's doing it. So pass this on, please.
James, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That was very kind of you. And again, I've really enjoyed having you on the show. It's been, like I say, a pleasure, and yeah, really enjoyed having you. So, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. And thanks for listening, everybody.